Hey, do you know what this is?
Looks like a delta-connected three-phase transformer bank to me. It's probably providing three-phase 120 and 240 volt power to the downtown community.
Is that ice cream? As I was going to say, this is a delta connected three-phase transformer bank. Let me show you how this works. If you haven't yet watched our video on single-phase transformers, I recommend doing that before watching this one. What we looked at in the previous video was a single-phase overhead transformer, similar to the one in the image. When a voltage of 12,000 volts is applied to the primary leads, this transformer has the proper coil ratio to produce a secondary voltage of 240 volts between the two outer phases and 120 volts between either phase and the neutral. For the remainder of this video, we're going to show how to use this exact same transformer to create a three-phase transformer bank like this one, capable of producing single-phase 120 and 240 volts, as well as three-phase 240 volt power. Before connecting a three-phase transformer bank to the utility's primary distribution system, let's take a look at that to make sure we understand what we're seeing. I'm sure you've all seen overhead utility poles like those shown. A utility's overhead distribution feeder system is usually comprised of either 3 or 4 conductors, which are often designated as A phase, B phase, C phase, and a neutral conductor. The neutral, however, is not always present. A typical 12,000 volt primary system is described that way because the voltage potential between any two of the phase conductors is 12,000 volts. Between A and B phases, A and C phases, or B and C phases, all 12,000 volts. The voltage potential between any of the three phases and the neutral conductor is 6,930 volts. These primary voltages are often abbreviated as 12 kV and 6.9 kV. Three-phase transformer banks can be connected to the primary system in one of two ways. When a neutral is present, transformers can be connected to the primary high-voltage conductors in a Y configuration, utilizing the phase-to-neutral voltage of 6.9 kV. When a neutral is not available, the transformer bank must be connected in a delta configuration, which utilizes the full 12 kV phase-to-phase voltage. We'll also show how the secondary side of the transformer bank can be connected in a delta configuration and the secondary voltages that are created. Let's now use this same single-phase transformer and create a three-phase transformer bank. We'll start with a typical three-wire overhead system consisting of A, B, and C phases. Let's then take three single-phase transformers. First, we're going to look at just the primary windings and how to connect these to the overhead conductors. The coil of copper wire wrapped around a transformer core is also called an inductor. The symbol for an inductor is this coily looking thing, of which we have three. We're going to connect a jumper wire between the two transformers on the left. This is also symbolically shown on the right with a little dot connecting the two inductors on the left. We'll then connect the two transformers on the right with another jumper wire, also shown on the right with another dot. We then connect the outer leads of the two outermost transformers with a single long jumper wire. This completes the triangle shown at the right. We'll then connect the two transformers on the left with the A-phase primary conductor using a lead wire, also shown symbolically on the right. Similarly, we connect the two transformers on the right to the C-phase conductor with another lead wire. And finally, we can connect the two outer transformers to the B phase, which also completes the diagram on the right. This is called a primary delta connection. The primary windings of each of the three transformers are now energized at 12,000 volts using the three-phase conductors of the primary system. A neutral is not involved in this connection. You can also see this type of connection here. The jumper wire connecting the two transformers on the left, the jumper connecting the transformers on the right, and the long jumper connecting the two outer transformers. The A-phase lead wire is shown here, along with the C-phase lead wire, and lastly, the B-phase lead wire. Now that we know how the primary side of this transformer bank is connected to the primary system, let's move that aside and take a look at how the secondary side is connected. The secondary side of this transformer bank is going to be connected exactly the same way. We'll start with the secondary winding of the middle transformer. We'll also call this number 2, and then the winding of transformer number 1. We'll connect those together with a short jumper wire. This is symbolically shown on the right with a little dot connecting the inductor symbols together. We'll include the secondary winding of transformer number 3 and connect that to number 2 with another short jumper wire, also shown on the right. We'll add the long jumper wire connecting the outer leads, which also completes the triangle on the right. We add the X-phase lead to the jumper on the left, which is also shown on the right. We'll connect the Y-phase lead to the other short jumper wire. Now, as we've already shown, each of these transformers produces a secondary voltage of 240 volts across the outer leads. So the voltage potential between X phase and Y phase is 240 volts. We then connect the Z phase lead to the long jumper wire. This then connects the Z phase to the Y phase through the windings of transformer number 3 and produces a voltage potential of 240 volts between those two phases. It also produces a voltage potential of 240 volts between Z and X through the windings of transformer number 1. This is the three-phase power of this transformer bank. Also, if you recall, these transformers have a center tap position. If we connect a fourth lead to the center tap of the middle transformer, this becomes the neutral. Shown on the right, the neutral creates a voltage potential of 120 volts between the X phase and the neutral, and also between the Y phase and the neutral. This is also referred to as a delta connection. You can see this delta connection here, the short jumper wire connecting the transformers on the left and the X phase lead. The line worker that put this together used a single conductor for the jumper and lead wire. The jumper on the right and the Y phase lead are constructed the same way with a single conductor. The long jumper connecting the outer transformers is connected to the Z phase lead using a crimp connection hidden under some electrical tape. And if you look close, the neutral is connected to the center tap of the middle transformer. Before we move on, let's take a closer look at what's happening here. This delta transformer connection is capable of providing three-phase 240 volt power by connecting all three phases X, Y, and Z. It can provide single-phase 240 volt power by connecting X and Y, Y and Z, or X and Z. It can also provide single-phase 120 volt power by connecting X phase and the neutral, or Y phase and the neutral. Take a look at what's missing here though. Why can you not get 120 volt power by connecting the Z phase and the neutral? Because of the geometry of this type of connection, 120 volt power is only created in the windings of the center transformer where the neutral is connected, and it's only available by connecting the X phase or the Y phase with the neutral. For this reason, the Z phase stands alone and has its own nickname. The Z phase is sometimes referred to as the high leg. Some line workers also refer to this as the stinger leg. If you're wondering what voltage potential exists between the high leg and the neutral, let's take a look at that for a moment. These diagrams that we've been looking at aren't just for the physical connections in the transformer. These are also called phasor diagrams. Engineers use phasor diagrams to determine different voltages in a variety of transformer configurations. In this particular configuration, we want to know what voltage is created when we connect the Z phase to the neutral. Using a phasor diagram, we can use simple geometry to measure the length of the line between Z and N. Since this is an equilateral triangle, each of the three interior angles is 60 degrees. The tangent of 60 degrees is equal to the value we're looking for divided by 120 volts. Rearranging the terms and calculating the tangent of 60 times 120 volts gives 208 volts. If you'd like to know more about phasor diagrams, leave a comment below. So now we know how phasor diagrams work, and we've determined that when the high leg is connected to the neutral, we get a single phase voltage of 208 volts. Let's add that to the list. So this delta-delta connected three-phase transformer bank is connected in a delta configuration on the primary side to the A phase, B phase, and C phase primary conductors. The voltage between each of the primary conductors is 12,000 volts. The secondary side is also connected in a delta configuration, capable of providing single phase 120 volts, 240 volts, three-phase 240 volts, and the anomalous single-phase 208 volts. It provides a three-phase, four-wire service consisting of an X phase, a Y phase, a Z phase, also known as the high leg, and a neutral conductor. The four-wire service conductors are shown here. These are the conductors that extend to and are connected to the customer's meter panel. The three-phase four-wire service is connected to the customer's meter panel. X phase, Y phase, the high leg, and the neutral. Bus bars carry the current through the electric meter so the utility can monitor power usage. Another set of four conductors carry the power to the distribution panel. X phase and the neutral, or Y phase and the neutral, are used to provide single-phase 120 volt power to lighting, outlets, and other 120 volt appliances. Any two of the phases can be used to provide single-phase 240 volt power to electric water heating, refrigeration, or industrial machines requiring 240 volts. All three phases are used to provide three-phase 240 volt power, usually to large motor loads like elevators or industrial air conditioning. The anomalous single-phase 208 volts historically has been used to provide power to small single-phase motors. I don't believe this is used in any capacity in more modern installations, but if you're an electrician and know what customers use this for, leave a comment below. I've also seen this transformer configuration used in an agricultural capacity with avocado groves, orange groves, nurseries, and vineyards to provide power to well pumps, with a single light bulb illuminating the customer's meter panel. Before we conclude, it's important to point out that single-phase 120 volts is only created in the winding of the center transformer. Single-phase 240 volts can be utilized from any one of the windings. Because of this, it's important to balance the single-phase load across all of the windings as much as possible. When a lot of 120 volt load is present, it may be necessary to install a larger center transformer to handle the excessive load. You may have noticed in this image, the transformer in the middle is larger than the other two for exactly that reason. It's also important that the high leg phase is properly marked and identified. You can see here the line worker that installed this bank has marked the high leg phase with orange tape, here, here, and here. Not marking the high leg is probably how it came to be known as the stinger. Also, the individual transformers that make up this bank are rated to provide 240 volt power, and this configuration utilizes that to produce the maximum possible three-phase 240 volt power. We'll contrast that in the next video, where we'll show how these same transformers are used to provide three-phase 208 volt power. Although beneficial, the 208 volt configuration does not utilize the full voltage capability of these transformers like this one does. And finally, this is usually recognized as a three-phase 120 240 volt service. The 208 volt, although present, is not typically recognized by the utility as one of the service voltages. Pretty cool, huh? Now you know. This place does have good ice cream. Thanks for watching.